Hello and welcome to the second episode of the 9th series of the Poetry Peacast. Yes, the 9th series. Look at that. Before we get stuck into today's episode, a couple of bits of housekeeping. Think of it as the poetic equivalent of checking you've got your keys before leaving the house. Or in my case perhaps, checking you've shut the front door with the keys several times. Anyway, that's just a personal foible. First up, there's a rather big announcement tucked away in our very first Poetry Pea newsletter of the new year. It involves the Poetry Pea Press. And if you have even the faintest ambition to see your work published, you'll want to know about it. No spoiler alerts here. Where's the fun in that? You'll need to be signed up to the Poetry Pea mailing list, which you can do via the website to get the full story. If you miss that all-important announcement, don't you worry, I will repeat it, but only via the newsletter. So while you're over on the website, a reminder to check the submissions diary, and a second reminder to let you know that submissions are currently open for the video prompt. So if you fancy seeing your words paired with moving images and atmospheric music, now is the moment. This episode is about honouring the very best of Poetry Pea poems from 2025. And that needs a teeny weeny bit of context. You might remember that I said last year I would not nominate poetry for the Touchstone Awards. In short, I wasn't comfortable with how the judging of individual poems was handled last time out. I'm not going to go down that road again. If you're curious, you can hear my reasoning in episode 25 of the 8th series. What I did want to do, however, was recognise poets who, in my view, went above and beyond for Poetry Pea in 2025, and who, under normal circs, would have been nominated. But I wanted to do it in my own way. So I've created something new. The Golden Pea Awards. Now this award is for the best of the best from Poetry Pea. That's across our haiku, senryū, tanka and haibun. And the most golden of all the peas, the 24-carat ones, will eventually appear together in a chapbook, so you'll be able to read them, revisit them, and, if necessary, argue about them properly. Now you know that after every topic you write for, I ask a panel to judge the work. But you may not realise that I have no influence whatsoever over the results. These awards, though, this is my turn. And unsurprisingly, I don't always walk the same path as the panellists. So to get here, I reread all the journals, and Little Marvels, and Tendrils, for the haibun. We really do produce oodles of poetry together, and I'm immensely grateful for that. Thank you. So from that mountain of work, I created a long list, and then pared it back, and pared it back again, searching for the most golden of the golden peas. So what you're going to hear today are the poems that are absolutely superb, but just shy of that elusive 24-carat glow. I suspect you'll listen and think, how on earth didn't that make it into the final shortlist? So settle yourself in, make yourself a cup of something comforting, or maybe a drop of the strong stuff, and enjoy a truly brilliant selection of Poetry Pea poems from 2025. Exceptional work, every last one of them. First up, I wanted to bring you some of my favourites from the sub-genre sci-fi, which we opened the beginning of last year with. So here we go. Playing leapfrog on the moon, I lose Ted. Playing leapfrog on the moon, I lose Ted. Linda L. Ludwig, from Poetry Pea Journal 125. Red dust. A green leaf unfolds inside the glass dome. Red dust. A green leaf unfolds inside the glass dome. Nina Singh. Poetry Pea Journal 125. A word triggers social media storm. Butterfly effect. A word triggers social media storm. Butterfly effect. Shrini, from Poetry Pea Journal 125. And one last one that was in the sci-fi section. Crossroads paradox. My destiny awaits both left and right. Crossroads paradox. My destiny awaits both left and right. Karen Hedetniemi. Poetry Pea Journal 125. Before we carry on, there's something I really want to say. A proper old thank you. Poetry Pea doesn't exist in a vacuum, not even a poetic one, and 2025 has reminded me just how many of you quietly keep the whole thing ticking along. Whether you've supported us by listening, submitting your work, commenting thoughtfully, or sharing episodes, it all matters more than you might think. To those of you who wrote for us this year, thank you for trusting Poetry Pea with your words. To our magnificent squad of volunteers, the unsung heroes who read, organise, nudge, judge, proofread, and generally stop everything descending into chaos, you are, quite frankly, legends of the haiku world. If you bought us a coffee, thank you for fueling the editorial brain cells. If you became or remained one of our members, I thank you for believing in what we do. All of you are mightily appreciated. Poetry Pea is a community effort, held together with poems, goodwill, and the occasional raised eyebrow, and potentially a rant every now and then. So yes, thank you all. 2025 wouldn't have been the year it was without you. Now then, shall we get back to the poems? Skyscraper. Reaching the blue sky. Children's laughter. Skyscraper. Reaching the blue sky. Children's laughter. Laughing Waters, with the last of our poems from issue 125. The next couple are coming from Poetry Pea Journal 225. Sunset Drive, heading straight for the arms of my dashboard Jesus. Sunset Drive, heading straight for the arms of my dashboard Jesus. Michael Henry Lee. Childless. The western sky calls me, unnoticed. Childless. The western sky calls me, unnoticed. Reed Hepworth. And this next one is from issue 325. White lie. A dash of this, a dash of that. White lie. A dash of this, a dash of that. By Debbie Olson. Next I'm going to bring you a haibun from Tendrils, Volume 2 in 2025. And it's called Catch a Falling Star by Jenny Shepherd. I hear on the news that the annual Perseid meteor shower will peak at 2 a.m. that night. The sky is cloudless when we go to bed, so we set the alarm for 1:55 a.m. When it goes off, we go down and I make myself a hot chocolate to sip in the back garden. The air is so warm, I can just sit in my nightie. We allow our eyes to get used to the dark for the recommended 20 minutes. And one by one, the stars begin to appear in the light-polluted London sky. We can even see a satellite, or perhaps the Mir space station gliding slowly eastward. I can't decide if the faint noise I can hear is the breeze in our silver birch or the distant traffic on the North Circular. But my husband assures me it's the traffic. After about another 20 minutes, we both catch sight of one shooting star. We hope it's the beginning of the possible hundreds in an hour. 20 more minutes pass without any more sightings. So we give up and put the chairs away before going back upstairs. My husband falls asleep almost immediately, and I listen to his steady breathing, while I lie awake for several hours. Empty pockets. Nothing saved for rainy days and starless nights. Empty pockets. Nothing saved for rainy days and starless nights. Now, moving back to some haiku and senryū. You'll notice I haven't split them up this time, but I will in future. We're going to journal 425. Sculpture garden. A spider working in the abstract. Sculpture garden. A spider working in the abstract. Amy Watson. Lustprinzip. A yellow sulphur's proboscis probes a pink dahlia. Lustprinzip. A yellow sulphur's proboscis probes a pink dahlia. Joshua Sinclair. And now on to Journal 525. Beach bonfire. I tuck my knees inside a borrowed hoodie. Beach bonfire. I tuck my knees inside a borrowed hoodie. Another from Amy Watson. Party's over. Changing back into an introvert. Party's over. Changing back into an introvert. Kerry J. Heckman. So let's go back to tendrils and hear another haibun, this time by Arvinder Kaur, Allegiance. As I look out of the window, I see the expanse of an old guava that we planted nearly 3 decades ago when we moved into this house. The leaves offer camouflage from prying neighbours and from the harsh sun. Fragile white flowers appear every year, only to be blown away by summer storms. The few that are left turn into tiny fruit, but never reach maturity. In all these years, we have not had a full crop. My family often gets tired of the old tree. It doesn't even let the grass grow. Replace it with another one that bears fruit? But I'm attached to the tree. It's been a companion of my turbulent years. On Diwali, we wrap fairy light strings around its trunk, and it turns our backyard into the most glamorous part of the house. At my retirement party, we hung marigold balls on the branches. Even with the bark that is now peeling off, my guava looked resplendent. The caress of gnarled hands, twilight deepens. The caress of gnarled hands, twilight deepens. Now let's go back to Journal 225 with a few more haiku. Evening bird song, threading through bluebells gone to seed. Evening bird song, threading through bluebells gone to seed. Ben Oliver. Autumn morning, incense becomes the sky. Autumn morning, incense becomes the sky. Nicholas Klaksansky. Mountain fog, nothing to pack for this journey. Mountain fog, nothing to pack for this journey. Ravi Kiran. Now off to Journal 425 for this. Ant path, mapping unseen continents. Ant path, mapping unseen continents. That's by Neetu Yomnam. Saying yes to another date. Green shoots. Saying yes to another date. Green shoots. Melissa Dennison, Journal 125. And so now to a few of the tanka we've had this year. When I'm gone, put my name on a park bench. Remember to laugh with the children and pet all the dogs. When I'm gone, put my name on a park bench. Remember to laugh with the children and pet all the dogs. Cynthia Bale, Issue 2, 25. And a couple from the last tanka journal, that's 525. Early moonlight, my shadow waits across the pond. A frog's soft plunge ripples through the silence as if to answer longing. Early moonlight, my shadow waits across the pond. A frog's soft plunge ripples through the silence, as if to answer longing. David A. Lee. We made a bonfire of your life after you died, that fell as wood smoke, and the sound of ripe plums landing in the wasp grass. We made a bonfire of your life after you died, that fell as wood smoke, and the sound of ripe plums landing in the wasp grass. Sarah Winteridge. In the interests of keeping things scrupulously above board, I can't consider poems written by the editing team for inclusion in the Golden Pea Awards. Judges judging themselves, or their relatives, is rarely a good look. That's all I'm saying. That said, and this is important, from time to time, the editors put down their red pens, stop muttering about line breaks and rhythm, and all the other bits and bobs that go into writing haiku and senryū, and they write their own poetry for you and for me, purely for the joy of writing. These pieces are part of the fabric of Poetry Pea, and I wanted to acknowledge them. So what follows is a small but splendid selection of work written exclusively for us. Poems born not of competition or judging panels, but of generosity, craft, and the occasional late-night deadline, I'm sure. Think of it as the editorial team stepping out from behind the curtain, waving politely, taking a deep bow, and offering a poem before disappearing again. So let's hear what they've been up to over at Pea Towers. Searching for the mothership. Winter stars. Searching for the mothership. Winter stars. And that one was Levhart. In space, no one hears the ice scream van. In space, no one hears the ice scream van. Robert Horrobin. Leaving a blanket in her room just in case. Do the dead come back to the world they once lived in? Leaving a blanket in her room just in case. Do the dead come back to the world they once lived in? Vandana Parashar. And so, dear fellow peas, we arrive at the end, temporarily, of the podcast. This is not a farewell, just a polite British pause, so I can have a cuppa or two. I'll be back in a future episode with the shortlisted Golden Pea Award winners. So do try and contain your excitement in the meantime, but also be patient. Putting a printed book to bed is complicated and time-consuming. So until then, it's time to turn your thoughts to submissions for the coming year. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to head over to the video prompt and submit your poems. And I know I say this every time, but this is crucial. Submissions go in the comments section under the YouTube video. Please don't send them to me directly. Think of my blood pressure. Be kind. And while you're organising your poetic life, do check out the whole diary on the website to see what topics are coming up. And note carefully when your haibun needs to be ready for the next print volume of Tendrils. Plan ahead. Your future self will thank you. And a little whisper of news before we go. There will be another anthology this year, but it's invitation only as usual. Those invitations come via the newsletter, so yes, that's another excellent reason to sign up. Congratulations to all the poets published by Poetry Pea last year. We want to encourage creativity, absolutely, but we also care deeply about publishing quality work. If your poem was accepted, you should be genuinely proud of yourself. Well done. Congratulations too to all the poets whose work I've read out this week. I've thoroughly enjoyed hearing all those poems again, and I hope you've enjoyed listening. So more poetry next week, and very soon, the results of the Golden Pea shortlist. Until we meet again, keep writing. And don't forget, the website is just one click away. Ciao!